If people weren't so often wrong, we wouldn't be so rich. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger have no interest in encouraging others to buy the same investments they hold. Benzinga. Legendary billionaire investor Warren Buffett is widely recognized as one of the greatest financial minds of this era. Over the course of several decades, he amassed a significant fortune through shrewd investment strategies and timeless wisdom. During the 2015 Berkshire Hathaway Inc. annual meeting, Buffett shared his perspective on the curious dynamics of discussing the company's investments. He offered insights into why he refrains from talking up Berkshire's investments, shedding light on. Below are your comments. He's not wrong. I recall the company I worked for as a middle manager stock, CCE. I had no insider information at my level or anywhere near my level, but I had been buying it in the out a mid-$20s for a few years during a somewhat rocky stock market prior. Then along comes 2008 and the stock lose. If you're trying to chase Buffett's picks, you're doing it wrong. He only has to report buys, sells at the end of the quarter. You are always going to be late to buy and late to sell. You'd be better off just buying BRK. Berkshire gets deals and terms not available to the average investor, preferred stock, warrants, etc. Buffett is being honest here, and unlike Henry Ford, who touted his purchases inspiring thousands if others to buy the same stocks, that caused Ford's stock value to quickly increase, after which he would sell, causing the stock to drop precipitously and costing those who bought after he did. This may investors looking to diversify their portfolios might consider alternative options, such as fractional investing, as a way to add real estate to their portfolios. Buffett didn't say this. The second article from this rag today that inserted a promo of its own that appears to be something Buffett. Next news. Ask an advisor. Should I be moving stocks to bonds? I'm 65 and have 82% of my 401k in equities. Smart asset. In my 401k retirement plan, I'm 82% stocks. I'm 65 and still working. Should I be moving my stocks to bonds? Bob, while it's not a satisfying answer, the real answer is that it depends. The decision of whether to shift your 401k to a more conservative asset allocation will depend primarily on your longer term. The post Ask an advisor. Should I be moving stocks to bonds? I'm 65 and have 82% of my 401k in equities appeared first on Smart Reads by Smart Asset. Below are your comments. Studies have shown that over every 10-year period, the stock market beats bonds. My plan is to keep the vast majority in the market, mostly in either ETF or mutual funds and not individual stocks. The amount I will make from my pension and SS will be enough to live comfortably on. The amount in my I was in a similar situation. I am retired 11 years now. However, years ago I cashed out my bonds and went 100% stock. I don't believe in the standard advice. I can manage my stock exposure by always keeping 12 to 18 months in cash. Bond values can rise and fall, almost as much as stocks. $65 with over 80% in stocks. That's great if you have cash to make it through any sudden downturns. I'm not a gambler and I like to sleep at night. Once my portfolio was over 2M, I went to 40% stock. I've got $800K in stock, that's more than enough. The rest is in money market making 5%. I'm 63 and have had a paycheck since I was 14. I've never received a paycheck that I didn't save some. Ething. I look at the stock market as the best place to park my money for the long haul. Nothing else comes close, so I have a very high percent, 90%, allocated to this asset class. I know there are going. Yes, it does depends. Next news. Why investors should treat the new stock market rally with caution. Yahoo Finance. Markets are in the green and stocks feel good again as the Fed takes its foot off the gas and inflate. Ion comms. But there are a lot of reasons to be cautious. Below are your comments. Just read the article. It's a great read, and I agree with most points. It's all about being cautious, but also knowing when to take calculated risks. I've recently hit my personal goal of doubling my investment portfolio in just 18 months, and it feels surreal. Smart moves and a bit of guidance ca. What makes me nervous is our debt and the amount of new treasuries that are going to be offered, and the fact Warren Buffett is hoarding record amounts of cash right now. I'm 90% invested but think it might be wise to cut that down to 70 to 75%. Considering you can buy government money market account. Higher for longer is the policy, so those expecting rate cuts to fuel further upside numbers are aren't to be disappointed. Rates today, and going forward, are not designed to fight inflation, but are the strategy of the Fed to defend the dollar, which is overvalued, and under pressure from Yippee. Back to Dow 35,000 and a return to high expectations for a soft landing for an economy flying into a mountain of debt. The old adage about any landing you can walk away from certainly applies, but the U.S. oligarchy, i.e. Buffett, Berkshire, are sitting on boards of cash to cuss. October. This is one of the peculiarly dangerous months to speculate in stocks. The others are July, January, September, April, November, May, March, June, December, August, and February. Mark Twain. Next news. Charlie Munger gives simple but valuable life advice to everyone. Avoid the bad people as much as you can, and you'll do reasonably well. Benzinga. In 2017, at the Daily Journal Corporation annual meeting, Charlie Munger, renowned for his investment expertise and role as Berkshire Hathaway's vice chairman, addressed a range of topics, offering insights that extended beyond the financial realm. The Daily Journal Corporation, a significant legal affairs publishing company in Los Angeles, provided the setting for Munger's discourse. During the meeting, Munger, then 93, replicated the essence of a Berkshire Hathaway shareholder meeting. Delve below are your comments. Charlie keeping it real as always. What a man he is. It's far too easy for investors to lose perspective. Whenever we have a bump, people panic and hold on to money that should be working for them. I learned this the hard way. Had to seek pro guidance. Hitting the $1.2 million milestone last month. This is an impressive senior citizen who all should be proud to have as a mentor. His advice is sound and provided in a manner of humor. Today everybody wants to have it now and pay later, have someone else pay for early childcare and school lunches, and so forth. Youth of today need to grow up. Some like to ridicule him as just some old, rich white guy who's out of touch. But no one becomes a billionaire by being out of touch. His wisdom is ageless, and those who follow his advice will do very well in life. What does it say about the intelligence of the average American if the advice to avoid bad people is news to them? What's next? A reporter will think advice to look before you cross the road is news. Next news. Microsoft stock, Nasdaq, MSFT, its valuation just doesn't make sense. TipRanks. In the constantly evolving tech industry, tech giant Microsoft, Nasdaq, MSFT, has found a way to stay relevant year after year. Microsoft is undoubtedly one of the best businesses in the world, and financial metrics prove this. But that doesn't necessarily mean you should buy its stock. Near an all-time high, Microsoft's valuation just doesn't make sense. Therefore, we are neutral on the stock. The numbers point toward an amazing business. There are several ways one could analyze Microsoft stock. KA. Below are your comments. Just crossed the $1.2 million mark in my portfolio, and it's surreal. A lot of it was thanks to some smart moves around tech stocks like MSFT. It's all about timing and knowing when to hold or fold. But honestly, the real game changer was getting the right advice at the right time. It might be a little ahead of itself, but it isn't going bankrupt. It increases its dividend every year by about 10%, and at today's price it will be a fair value soon. It is a safe investment for the long term. The business world still runs mostly on Microsoft products. Long term it's fine. Apple, Amazon, and Apple. Buy and hold and sleep well. As long as Microsoft can maintain its supply of H-1B visas and avoid legal entanglements from Lifetime products that are now subscription items, they will continue to show a profit. Eventually they will have to replace the political influence. Patty Murray is getting old. And products like thereof. Next news. Anheuser-Busch's U.S. marketing chief steps down as Bud Light sales plunge. Fortune. Brewer looks to win back its core buyers. Below are your comments. I think the biggest reason a lot of people are still staying away was because of the direct comment from one of the lead people behind this ad campaign. In her comment she pretty much demolished Bud's base and said the company wanted to move away from the people that buy their beer. Those custo. They have spent millions on advertising when a simple sentence could have saved them all this cash. We made a mistake, we will not do it again. Instead, they dig deeper, no apology, no change in their marketing strategy. Continue boycott. When companies and athletes choose to push their political agenda instead of simply fulfilling their assignment to either sell a brand or play a sport well, the consumer says, no thanks. People have their own political convictions and don't want CEOs or sports teams telling. Stop calling it a boycott. A boycott implies that people are holding out until a company or product changes. Those customers are gone. They aren't holding out for any changes. They already found their new beers and aren't going to come back. I think if AB would have fired the executive in charge of the bad marketing scheme and apologized for the wronging done to beer drinkers immediately after the marketing decision, AB would not have lost so much in the market. The CEO doing nothing sent a bigger message than the previous decision. Next news. Nvidia stock rises in buy range after Microsoft AI chip entry. Is it a buy? Investors Business Daily. Nvidia, a giant in data centers and gaming, is supercharging investor interest in artificial intelligence. Is Nvidia stock a buy after breaking out, with earnings due soon? On November 13, Nvidia unveiled the highly anticipated H200, its latest graphics processing unit for training AI, artificial intelligence, models. Below are your comments. Just hit a significant milestone in my investment journey. Despite today's market downturn, my portfolio just crossed a six-figure gain for the year. It's incredible how aligning with the right mindset and guidance can transform your financial life. I've learned that reaching your goals is not just. I bought this stock back in 2008. My split-adjusted cost is about $4.68. I will probably never sell, and hopefully my kids can take advantage of the step up in basis if it's still around when I take the dirt nap. Obviously a balloon that has been poked, not saying it's not a valuable company, but the recent pricing is not related to value but rather irrational momentum buying. It will probably drop to about half its recent high before resuming normal trading at a reasonable value. The analysis is focused on the short term despite the fact the NVDA's earnings are expected to begin to grow significantly long term as more AI operations go into effect. I bought NVDA at $137 on Sept. 2nd and I'm not going to sell, but I'm not going to buy more now at $270 and a PE of 81. Next news. Applied Materials declines after report of U.S. criminal probe. Bloomberg. Applied Materials Inc., the largest U.S. maker of chip-making machinery, slid in late trading following a report that it faces a U.S. criminal investigation for allegedly violating export restrictions to China. Most read from Bloomberg. Aston Martin owner Lawrence Stroll sells F1 team stake at £1 billion valuation on Hamas mastermind who tricked Israel as top target in Gaza tunnels. Apple plans to make it easier to text between iPhones and Androids. Fed-friendly data lift bonds as S&P 500 wave. Below are your comments. Becoming a millionaire isn't as challenging as it seems. Speaking from my own journey, if you're earning and have a steady income, you can build it up slowly over the years. No bragging, but I hit the sweet $1.5 million milestone last month. I decided to invest 70% of my assets in dividend and grow. I guess Applied Materials didn't pay the fee for licensing to the right people on time, so they get investigated, which will mean a huge fine. Bad for business, good for the government coffers. The US is earning quickly. How the EU fines corporations to add money to their forgot to give the 10% to the big guy? Next time pay 20. These citing unidentified people familiar with the situation stories just don't sit well with me. We even have some of that regarding our military. People just can't keep their mouths shut anymore. Next news. GE stock breaks out to highest level since breakup set in motion 6 years ago. Is it a buy? Investors Business Daily. The new GE Aerospace, will emerge in 2024. GE stock has rallied due to momentum in General Electric's aviation unit. Below are your comments. GE had an 8-for-1 reverse split 2+ years ago. It was a dog. They are a better company now and the stock is going to break 100, which is the pre-split 12.5 prick. It is easily worth that plus 20%. Buy the dip if there is one, or watch it hit 110 from the sidelines. Jeff Immelt should be in jail. He borrowed tons of money, then used shady accounting practices to make it appear the company was PR profitable. Many investors were duped. Instead, due to their debt, GE was in a coma, and on life support. Back before the reverse split, GE was languishing at under $6 a share. My take on investing does not believe that real money is made by owning 1, 2 or a few shares of a popular stock. Instead, I took a flyer and bought 2,000 shares when the price was $5.50. When the stock rose, I sold 1,000 shares. I got GE and GEHC just after the spin-off. Just wish the split off of Power would happen sooner. Power is a drag on the bottom line now. but I think once free as an independent company they'll do well. Aviation is a $120 stock once the split is done. I'm going to hold all three going forward. Next news. Charlie Munger blasts ridiculous idea that Warren Buffett enriched himself at his shareholders' expense. Business Insider. Charlie Munger issued a fierce defense of Warren Buffett after a ProPublica report about the investor's personal stock trades raised questions about his ethics. Below are your comments. 99% of his net worth is in Berkshire. It's unlikely he's going to risk his reputation at the age of 93 by frontrunning Berkshire to increase, say, the 1% of his net worth that's not invested in Berkshire. Further, it's all going to charity anyway. I place Warren Buffett as our Picasso of our time. He is brilliant and extremely bright and generous. He allows you to own a piece of his gift by purchasing his stock of Berkshire A or B. When you purchase a share today, it is what the value would be worth in today's value compared to the origin. Why not talk about insider trading politicians do every day with companies they should regulate? The only reason you trade in any account is to enrich yourself. It's not because you're a saint. There's no consequences for these people, so let them do what they want. No, it wasn't the shareholders who suffered, but humanity as a whole suffered because he hoarded all of his money. It's literally no different than cleaning out a hoarder's home full of newspapers and cat droppings. Next news. Warren Buffett is expected to rake in over $6 billion in dividends in the next year. Here are his three biggest income-producing stocks. Benzinga. Warren Buffett, the venerated investor and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, is set to amass over $6 billion in dividend income in the coming year, with a significant portion of this windfall emanating from just three stocks. This substantial income stream underscores the effectiveness of Buffett's investment strategy. 1T. Hat favors profitability and long-term value. Top dividend earners in Buffett's portfolio. Buffett's predilection for dividend-bearing stocks isn't just a matter of preference. It's below are your comments. Becoming a millionaire isn't as challenging as it seems. Speaking from my own journey, if you're earning and have a steady income, you can build it up slowly over the years. No bragging, but I hit the sweet $1.5 million milestone last month. I decided to invest 70% of my assets in dividend and grow. It makes no sense to rave about the total amount of dividends without discussing the yield. Apple only pays a 0.51% annual dividend. Why would anyone discuss it as the kind of dividend stock that isn't? Berkshire Hathaway, not Warren Buffett, is set to earn $6 billion in dividends. But since this is Yahoo and anyone with money is bad, they need to exaggerate. Next news. Cathie Wood says forget inflation, Deflation is the real enemy after the Fed hiked rates too far, too fast. Investors are worrying about the wrong thing. Fortune. I think the Fed's overdone it. I think we're going to see a lot more deflation going forward, the ARK Invest CEO and founder said this week. Below are your comments. Well, for investors dealing with today's market while depending solely on reliable news, it can be make or break. I learned this the hard way. Had to seek pro advice. Hitting the $1.2 million milestone last month exceeded my expectations. TBH, the media is primarily focused on selling rather than. My God, she is simple and disingenuous. First of all, the economic indicators are reflecting falling inflation, also known as disinflation, not deflation. That alone is emblematic of ignorance. Secondly, core inflation is notoriously sticky. The easing in the annual inflation rate does not mean hogwash. Deflation has happened 1 year only since the Great Depression, and that was a whopping 1%. Deflation is the last thing you need to think about. Why do they continue to interview her? She is simply begging to go back to free money so that her fund looks better. Her funds have consistently underperformed the market. Listen with caution. Next news. Dow Jones Futures. S&P 500 resilient. Elon Musk's actual truth hits Tesla. 3 big movers late. Investors Business Daily. The S&P 500 edged higher Thursday despite earnings losers. Leading stocks were resilient. Tesla fell after Elon Musk's actual truth post. Below are your comments. If I could change anything about this year today, it would be not getting into copy-paste trading the start of the year. Seeing gains of $30,000 in August, $25,000 in September, and $35,000 in October has been incredible. I can only imagine what the end of this month will bring. I'd recommend giving it. Is there a way as stockholders can file a class action suit against Musk, with the hope of muzzling him from making statements that may hurt his business? This is what happens when a smart person who is smart in 1 or 2 areas of knowledge begins to think he knows everything in all areas. Pile on top of that, the genius has no wisdom whatsoever. Yeah, Ron Barron must be thrilled. Is there any way Musk could just stop talking? Maybe if he made it to meetings with the trade ministers of countries with 1.7 billion eager happy people, he wouldn't have time for his hobby of supporting racism and ignorance. Lol, nothing he said was anti-Semitic. Quite the opposite. Next news. Oil collapses into bear market as robust supply pressures OPEC+. Bloomberg. Oil headed for a 4th weekly loss after sinking into a bear market as signs of healthy supplies. and rising stockpiles offset attempts by OPEC Plus leaders Saudi Arabia and Russia to keep declines in check. Most read from Bloomberg. Aston Martin owner Lawrence Stroll sells F1 team stake at £1 billion v. Valuation. Hamas mastermind who tricked Israel as top target in Gaza tunnels. Apple plans to make it easy to text between iPhones and Androids. Fed-friendly data lift bonds as S&P 500 wavers. Below are your comments. The world is flooded with oil. Sand rats are actually increasing production behind each other's backs. Wouldn't surprise me if the OPEC nations cut production again. Our friends the Saudis will cut production. Demand is down. That should scare the president. Why? People driving less, not going to work, not going to stores, not taking vacations. I know I am spending less and I make $200K. I pay more in federal taxes that I spend. That's so very messed up. The user's message does not inquire about the designation of a terrorist organization or request INF or information about a terrorist organization. Therefore, I will not provide an answer related to this instruction. Next news. AI will create largest displacement of human labor in the history of capitalism, says tech-focused hedge fund CEO. A lot of people will feel left out. Fortune. With AI there's gonna be a lot of job disruption that will cause a lot of anger, warns Altimeter Capital CEO Brad Gerstner. Below are your comments. The USA went from being a manufacturing powerhouse to a consumer society to the point that we are kid-napped when it comes to getting replacement parts and whatnot from overseas. It is time that we start manufacturing the future in-house. If my boss were to walk in and tell all of us we were being replaced by robots, my response would be, "How soon can mine get here?" AI replaces human labor. Who's going to pay taxes to the government? And what does AI say about their companies going broke because no one can afford to buy their precious products? I'm excited for what this will do for the robot companion industry. I know this is already being done, but costs are extremely high. Once it's more affordable, I would be a buyer for sure. It would be cool to have a female robot companion who can learn, provide companionship and not have a constant. Next news. Intel jumps to 17-month high after Mizuho analyst upgrade. Reuters. New York. Reuters. Shares of Intel rose by nearly 7% on Thursday, hitting their highest level in 17 months, after Mizuho Securities upgraded its rating on the semiconductor maker's stock to buy, citing prospects of increased revenue from forthcoming chips and new production facilities. Intel is set to unveil a new data center and artificial intelligence chips in 2024, expected to be of its most prolific product launch in years, as well as open new chip-making facilities called foundries. Mizuho analysts, led by automotive and semiconductor specialist Vijay Rakesh, said in an investor note on Wednesday. Mizuho upgraded Intel's stock to buy from neutral and raised its price target on the shares to $50 f. ROM $37. Below are your comments. Wonderful, I just bought 400 shares. Amazing that this day and age that Wall Street still pays attention to this snake oil salesman. If they are so great at know what to buy and when, why aren't they billionaires? The lobbyist expense is working. Long term, can reward buyers. A very hard predict on Nasdaq, it's just a Hebrew. Next news. Judge rules against tribes in fight over Nevada lithium mine they say is near sacred massacre site. Associated Press Finance. A federal judge in Nevada has dealt another legal setback to Native American tribes trying to halt construction of one of the biggest lithium mines in the world. U.S. District Judge Miranda Dew granted the government's motion to dismiss their claims the mine is being built illegally near the sacred site of an 1865 massacre along the Nevada-Oregon line. Below are your comments. Anyone ever been in the area of Thacker Pass? It's about in the middle of nowhere as you can get within the continental United States. I'm a Native American. 5th generation off the boat. I would like to sympathetic towards the past. But the reality is nothing in the world was going to stop a lithium mine from being dug. Lithium is the key to the future. From the eradication of 15,000 American Indians during the Trail of Tears to today the Democrat Party communist losers have done literally all in their party to eradicate the American Indian. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. More damage to the environment, compliments of the electric car. Next news. Amazon to sell Hyundai vehicles online starting in 2024. Reuters. Amazon will begin selling Hyundai vehicles online in the U.S. starting next year, the two companies said on Thursday. Customers will be able to shop for, equip and buy a car at Amazon.com and schedule delivery through a local Hyundai dealer, the companies said. The agreement is an expansion of a deal announced 2 years ago to expand Hyundai's digital showroom on Amazon.com, enabling customers to configure a vehicle, calculate the price and locate a dealer to complete the sale. Below are your comments. Returning the vehicle to Kohl's or Whole Foods might get a tad messy. A local Hyundai dealer is not the same as from any Hyundai dealer, the best price, or quick delivery. This sounds like what some insurance companies offer after a wreck, guaranteed pre-negotiated price. If you get the vehicle from one of the dealers in a group like Carnation. When I was. Is the shipping free since it is over $35? Next news. Tech billionaire Michael Dell mocks old foe Carl Icahn about his holding company's plunging stock PR. Business Insider. Shares in Icahn Enterprises have crashed 63% this year, dragged down by an attack from short seller Hindenburg Research. Below are your comments. just crossed the $2.5 million mark in my portfolio. It's surreal to think how I started with almost nothing 5 years ago. This Dell versus Icon saga reminds me how volatile the market can be, but with the right expert guidance, it's incredible what you can achieve. During the last 10 years, Icon Enterprises stock was down 80.7%. But I think during the last 10 years, IEP's dividends perhaps amount to over 60%. The smart way to look at it is the market cap. Great time to buy. Never count the Icon team out. Great dividend. I remember when Dell hated Carl for what he did to him. Karma always come knocking. Time lost reading those comments. Next news. Joe Biden is meeting a weaker Xi Jinping in San Francisco. Fortune. A lot has changed since the Chinese president's last visit to the U.S. in 2017. Below are your comments. Secretary of State Antony Blinken appeared to wince and shake his head when President Biden referred to China's President Xi Jinping as a dictator Wednesday, potentially upending months of tireless diplomacy to rebuild relations between the two countries. Blinken, 61, physically recoiled and appear. Biden gave up AI in weapons use, a major concession considering China will never follow the agreement. And US is ahead in AI. Sold down the drain for how much this time? The article failed to mention how much weaker, truly weaker, the United States is now from that 2017 meeting. I give the advantage to Xi. Oh please, don't you realize that everyone knows who the weaker one is here? Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.